Hey, it's Charlie here. Pronouns are they, them if y'all are commenting. So, understand, I know Source extremely well. Extremely well. We're like this, okay? Haven't always been. I've had really rough patches for years in my life where I was like, can't feel Source, universe, creator. Can't feel it. Felt very, regardless of how I felt, very protected. I have been in some of the darkest, most insidious, awfulest scenarios and situations around the most disgusting things. And gone through some of the worst, not the worst, but some of the worst things that you can go through. One being YouTube, the person who birthed me, which their other name is Samash, whatever you want to say. It's very old terminologies, but they went by different names. Well, they were one of the judges in the underworld, and I am tasked with understanding the ins and outs. This is for entertainment purposes only, okay? I am tasked with understanding the in and outs of the Matrix, and for the past year, it has been my almost primary goal, objective, job, if you will, working with Source, to remember, because it's really a remembering. I've had many past lifetimes where I've taken on this energy and been slowly dismantling it through thousands of years. And I don't really care if you believe me or not. It took me a very long time to wake up to all of this stuff. And people can think I'm crazy and whatever. But the reason why I have to share this is because there is so much truth that needs to be known about what the Matrix actually is and who actually controls it, what they are doing, and what darkness has a grip on people and how they're doing all of this. Because there's a lot going down in the United States right now, energetically, a lot. There is some in other countries as well, in other parts of the world, but there's a lot happening in the United States currently right now. I have actually been face to face with no other than Satan and Lucifer in their human bodysuits. And originally, when they arrived on Earth, because they're reptilian aliens from another galaxy, they seem like they're in a human bodysuit and going through traumas just like us, and have their own worries and stress about, finances, or, things not being perfect in their life, or whatever we go through as humans, it seems like. But as someone who was close to these two, they were showing up as men. I want to be very clear about something. They don't always show up as the right gender. They don't show up as a particular race. They don't show up as particularly anything. They can manifest and shapeshift into whatever the heck they want. But they showed up as two men, and I'm not going to disclose their names because I'm not here to freak people out. Because I think once people realize that they had done healings on them and had performed miracles, freak a lot of people out. In fact, Lucifer, in their human suit, was my mentor, my spiritual mentor, when I was in Christianity for a while. And what's fascinating about these two men is they literally were performing miracles. This is why this is not the highest vibration. Those who truly operate in the light are meant to vibrate much higher frequencies. Healing frequencies are around like 500 hertz. If you look into healing frequencies and things of that nature, like, it's not super up there on like the frequency scale. But as chosen ones, I'm one of them, meant to like lead or whatever. Literally, that is not the highest vibration. People want to, deify through the ages those who perform miracles or can do miraculous things. But in fact, we are actually all able to do those things, even when we're in places what people refer to as sin. Actually, I want to straighten something out, because these men have gone around spreading the word that you have to have the highest morals to be able to perform miracles and do all of these things. Well, I was actually performing miracles when I was going through a mental health crisis when I was in my 20s. And I'd have people come in and ask for me. And while I'm not asking for any clout, I don't want any for any of that. What's interesting and fascinating to me is that to them, it was a threat to their system. Because if someone like me who had really bad mental illness, I was really struggling. And it was from a fuck ton of trauma that I had been through in my life. What's fascinating about going through all of these things is that Source had me so protected and so held, and I made it out every single time, out of every single trap that was set for me. Every single place where they thought, you know what, we have this one. We can subdue them. We can overtake them. We can have them. Source will always have the last say, okay? And the reason why Source allows things to play out as they do is because Source knows that those who operate in darkness will always expose themselves at some point or another. They always will. And those with good intentions, not perfect, not having necessarily the best karma, struggling in life, but heart's in the right place, those will be the ones at front and center of bringing this new earth, heaven on earth, if you will, which we're meant to have here on this very planet, Earth, and cohabitate together. And it's okay to have different views, and it's okay to be who you are, truly. But to these men, I was taught, particularly the one that was my mentor, the Luciferian one, I was taught that I had to repent, and I had to basically go through telling Jesus what I had done, through my lifetime or the past week, whatever, and make sure that I was clean enough spiritually to be able to do X, Y, and Z spiritually, whatever. And mind you, I wasn't performing massive miracles. It was just mostly people got massive amounts of peace, and their mental illness got so much better around me, even though that's what I was struggling with. But that's the thing, when you pour energy in praying for something that's for yourself and or the collective, your community, you get that energy. And whether or not you're manifesting it fully as being free of it or not, that energy that you've been pouring in, now you have that to give to others, or accumulate for yourself. And what's fascinating to me is I look through the years that I knew this man who was my mentor, and the moment when I realized something was really off, because this man was my forefathers were in this country for a long time. They were part of this organization or secret society that was very dark towards a very specific group of people. They're primarily in the South, although not all of them wore the white, if you get my drift. I'm not going to mention them because there's no point. My forefathers used to be in that, and all of these things, right? Talked a good game, and honestly gave probably some of the best hugs that I've received in my life. Some of the best. How is that possible? How could someone so dark operate so in the light so much and present so much like they are what they're not. Well, let me tell you, Satan and Lucifer actually operate in heavy amounts of darkness. And that darkness is well hidden. And that's why at home, YouTube, aka the person who birthed me, was extremely vicious and mean, but would present it as, but I'm your parent. How dare you not basically worship them? I realized later that them forcing me to tell them every single day that they were the most beautiful. Talk about that one fairy tale where they go to the mirror and say, who's the fairest of them all? Well, I was forced to tell this person every day how beautiful they were. More than this celebrity, more than that celebrity, more than this person we ran into. I was forced to do that because I would get very severe punishments if I didn't. But yet in church, out in public, it was like, oh my God, you do all these things. You're the mother of all of these children. Oh my God. Oh my God, you're amazing. You're doing it all. Oh my God. And then a single mother when I was in my teenage years. Oh my God, you're just doing everything. You're so amazing. When in fact, it was hell at home. Hell. But it was all to condition me and my siblings, because several of my siblings are also chosen ones. And this was by design, by the divine. And we all agreed to this before we reincarnated. So we all agreed, although we didn't remember, of course, till I had a spiritual awakening. They're still waking up. But it's fascinating to me because the rhetoric is that we have to be these moral people for all of these things to happen. And that's not how the divine works. That's not how Source works. You know how Source operates? Source operates in, you have trauma, you got some negative karma that you need to pay, but hey, I'm rooting for you, and you can do it. A lot more I could say about that, but that's the short of it. And then even like our ancestors, a lot of us come here with like really heavy like karma, right? And things that we need to debts that we need to pay spiritually. Well, I've been paying that off all my years that I've been living. And let me tell you, I got some spiritual stuff banked now. But what's really interesting is all of these people, and these two men in particular that have been, up against me, my whole life. Because they kind of tag team. So I left YouTube. And then within a couple years, I met Lucifer. And then when Lucifer was out of my life, it was around the time that Satan came into my life. And that ended about 5 years ago. But I ended things with Lucifer in their human suit because they were racist and homophobic. And I was like, somebody added up. And I'm really uncomfortable with this conversation. And then I look back at other conversations that I had with them, and I was like, that's not really the Source that I know, and I really need to reevaluate some things, and I did. And then I'm gonna make another video more detail about Satan. But it's fascinating to me that so many people from the church were around these types of people who are very dark operating, who are Annunaki, who came here, some of the first here on this planet, and fucked shit up and literally installed the matrix that we currently live in to keep us enslaved to them and worshiping them and bowing down to them, but hiding in plain sight. I'm going to make another video, stay tuned, about Satan. But this is a story that y'all are going to want to pay attention to because it will be revealed here real soon. And the sooner that people can wake up, the sooner that y'all can get out of the matrix. And again, this is for entertainment purposes only.